Let's move on to our review of the week. This is a game that came out in 2018. It is called Solenia, Solenia. It plays 1 to 4 players. That's right. It can be a solitaire game as well.
Yep.
It plays in about 30 minutes to 45 minutes. I think that's about right. I think with 4 players, you're looking at about an hour. 2 players, definitely under 30 minutes. Yeah, Jake and I were cranking out 20-minute games. It has a light to medium weight. I would say this is a light game if you are playing the beginner's basic version, and still a light medium if you are playing the more advanced version with variants.
Yeah.
This is from one of my very favorite designers, the designer of my favorite game of all time, Sébastien Dujardin. I don't know if I'm saying that correctly, but Sébastien Dujardin also did Troyes, which I couldn't love more. Troyes, or Troyes, as many people would say. That is, you're buying other people's dice and you're placing dice in places. I think you did play it.
I think I did play it once.
It is quite heavy.
Yeah.
So Troyes, Troyes, in case you want to look it up. It looks like it's Troyes, but it is a French village, and it's pronounced Troyes. He also did a game called Tourney, which I have tried and did not love. He also did a game called Deus, which I enjoyed. I do not own it, but I did play it in a convention. I did enjoy it. But Troyes is really his masterpiece. But he apparently has a new masterpiece on the way, or at least playtesters who have played it say it is quite interesting. It's a game called Black Angel. It is hopefully coming out in 2019, and it has a very unusual mechanism, which can be found in Solenia. So I picked up Solenia because he liked this mechanism so much. Even I can do it. He liked this mechanism so much that he thought, oh, there's actually a cool casual game hidden in this very heavy game. So what I've heard is that Black Angel is quite heavy.
Got it.
Possibly heavier than Troyes. But this mechanism of playing cards on a board and building out a route based on the cards you play, he thought, well, that's a very cool sort of light family game as well. So that's what Solenia is. So let's talk about Solenia a little bit. Let me give you the basics. Let me first tell you what the theme is. I'm going to read you what the designer wrote here. Several millennia ago, the tiny planet Solenia lost its day and night cycle. Its northern hemisphere is forever plunged into darkness, and its southern hemisphere is eternally bathed in sunlight. Your mission is to carry on your ancestors' honorable task of traveling the world to deliver essential goods to the inhabitants of both hemispheres. While the day people want you to deliver the rarest gems and stones, the night people sorely need wood and wheat to survive. Be efficient and outpace your opponent to collect the most gold stars by the end of the game.
It's really quite beautiful also, I'll just say. Like, it's very aesthetically pleasing.
Let's start with the components. I agree completely. It is a beautiful game with a very whimsical, interesting, and unusual theme.
But it's very tight also. Like, it really works well. All the pieces fit together very nicely. It's appealing to touch.
So not only does this have a mechanism I've never really seen before, but it also has a board I've never seen before. So the board, picture sort of Space Invaders, like the video games, that shape of your ship at the bottom. So it's sort of that little arrow with going up with pixel layers.
Like little ziggurat steps.
Exactly. So picture that, and then picture 6 of them.
Stacked.
All stacked together to create a board.
Yeah.
And
it's like tank treads, really.
Tank treads, exactly. That is exactly. So that is a much better metaphor. So think of tank treads. So you have an airship, a Zeppelin, a sort of fantasy, really cool.
And it's actually a cool little mini.
Big yellow really Zeppelin on a stand, and it's in the middle of the board. And as it moves around the planet, you start cycling the last tank tread to the front of the stack.
Exactly.
And as they start going, they flip over, and on one side is night, and on the other side is day.
It's
so as you're moving forward, you can. It almost looks as though you are going around a planet and watching as you go from day to night and night to day. It's
really cool.
Right. It has a beautiful thing to it. Google it right now. Look it up on Board Game Geek, Solenia, so you can take a look at it. But the components are gorgeous. So what we're doing is each of us has a hand of 16 cards. And these cards are also something I've never seen before. They have a giant hole in the middle.
Yeah.
So picture a playing card, but if somebody cut a hole in the center of it that you could stick your index finger through.
Hole. Yeah.
Yeah. So you could literally stick your finger through the deck of cards and spin it around on your finger, which, by the way, I highly recommend. It's a very fun thing to do and something you're going to do while playing this game. You take that deck, you shuffle it up, and you draw 3 cards. Every turn is a very simple rule, and this is why it's an enjoyable game to teach. Play a card,
super quick.
Draw a card. Play a card, draw a card. That's all you're doing on your turn.
That's it.
But when you play a card, you play them on the board, on the tank treads. You can either place them directly below the Zeppelin or any space adjacent to the Zeppelin,
Yeah, and we should just say that those spaces are like little floating worlds
Exactly.
in the sky that
Right.
we're maneuvering through in our skyship.
Right. So
They're like little
Solenia,
floating islands, like in
Avatar.
Exactly.
Yeah. So each space has a Avatar floating island on it, and each floating island creates either a resource of wood, wheat, water, and stone. Those are the 4 options. And then the 5th one are cities which need those goods. So you are collecting goods and delivering. In essence, a pick up and deliver, but
It's really quite clever.
I guess actually it is a pick up and
I
deliver.
mean, in a way, it is.
So each of these cities, and you have a tableau at the top of the board that's going to have demand of what they want. So the night cities have their demand of 3 different things they want. And the day city has 3 different things as well.
And those are also cards.
Yes, those are all little cards.
Yeah.
And on those, so they're not just going to want one thing. Like one city will want, I want 3 wheat and 2 stone and 1 water, things like that, right? And they're worth different points. The harder it is, the more points they're going to be. So when you play a card, whatever is visible through the tiny little hole in the card is what you get.
Yeah.
And on each card, there are numbers. So you have numbers ranging from 0 to 2 in your deck. So all your cards are either 0, 1s, or 2s. That number decides how much of that good visible through the little window is there. And the cards are really cool because when you flip it over, it looks like a little like submarine
the window.
front window.
That's right.
And whatever the good is what you're looking at. You can see your hands on the steering wheel, and it's like you're looking at that good.
It's like one of those cutouts where you put your face in.
Yeah,
You're like Buzz Lightyear.
Yeah, super cool. Just neat little touches like that. But so you put your card there, you collect that many goods.
Yep.
At the bottom of each card, though, is something else. Some sort of reward you're going to get. Often points, often more goods.
Sure.
And so your cards actually stay there. When you play a card on the board, it stays there until it falls off the bottom of the board.
Right.
Now, remember, every time you move the ship forward, which happens on zeros, every time you play a card with a 0, you're not getting anything, but you're moving the Zeppelin forward, which then takes the last tile of the board of the tire tread and flips it over and moves it to the very front.
And any cards that were on that tread activate.
Exactly. So any cards that you had played, could have been many turns ago, that are on the board, when they fall off the end of the world, you get all the things on the bottom.
Yeah, so there is a certain amount of forethought about how many turns it's going to take to activate certain cards versus how soon you need that card to work for you right then.
Right.
It's a cool little back and forth of that. I like that part of it.
And in the placing of them, there's a very cool sort of route building as well, because now you can always place a card underneath the Zeppelin or any space attached to it. So I believe there's always 6 places you can put it. But you can also put it anywhere next to one of your other cards you've already placed. Right. So you're sort of building a route. So let's say, there's a day city way up there I need to get to. So you need to start laying your cards in order to get there.
Absolutely.
But if you're playing ahead of the Zeppelin, you're not going to those are not going to fall off the map for a very long time.
That's true.
If you're playing behind the Zeppelin, now you're
That's
not
like
gonna,
the short game.
You're going to be getting things as it drops off really fast, but you are going to now be limited by what you can get. So
That's
like
right.
where
the
you can
time
place
it
cards.
would take to build your route is much less because they're going to fall away.
They're going to fall away really quickly. And now in order to deliver to that next city, you're going to have to spend goods. So you can always break the rule of adjacency by spending 1 good per space that you need to go in between where the Zeppelin or where your last card.
And so I think it's also important to say that you're trying to get both night and day. Like there's major bonuses to doing both.
Right. So let's talk about your own board. So we each have our ship board, our Zeppelin board. And it's a very cool thing. It looks kind of like a skip. It looks a little bit like the
Kinda
ship.
Looks like a fish skeleton.
Fish skeleton, yes. I was thinking the barge ship in Return of the Jedi.
Yeah, of course, it totally looks like
it kind of looks like the Return of the Jedi barge.
Yeah, yeah.
Where they're taken to throw Luke into the pit.
Down the pit.
So you have one of these, and it has a certain amount of space that can hold goods. So the beginner side can hold 8.
Right.
The advanced side can hold 6.
Yeah.
But the advanced side has the advantage of having asymmetrical powers that you draft at the beginning of the game.
That's right.
And these powers can be unlocked by delivering goods either to the day or the night. So the top of your player board accepts night deliveries, and the bottom accepts day. So.
And then also up the center of your board is like how much stuff you can carry on your tread.
That's your storage.
That's your storage, yeah.
So remember when I said that the goods, the delivery tokens are tiles. Those tiles fit into your ship.
Yeah.
Above or below. So day can only go above, night can only go below. And as you place those in, you unlock either goods or powers.
Yeah.
And in the advanced game, which we played, which I think is a better game, by getting pairs of them, you can often unlock a superpower.
Yep.
So a power
You
like
did that in one of our games.
Yeah, so a power where every time you move the ship forward, you now move it forward twice.
Yeah.
But in order to unlock that power, you have to complete 1 day and 1 night delivery.
Yeah.
And there's a little route you can take too, because they're either labeled 1, 2, or 3. And as you do one, you can start leveling up.
There's lots of options layered in that all affect each other very smartly.
Totally. So I've now played 4 or 5 times this game. Jake and I played it 2 games back to back. Each game took 20 minutes.
Yeah, it moved
super
real fast. One-on-one, it moves
Jake
really
won the
quick.
first one. I won the second one. Really fun, quick 2-player games. Really fast, really fun, and sort of a little bit of a dance, because you're definitely like watching where the other person's going, and you can. And a fun thing with the cards is you can start building a wall around what they need. You know, and often goods are really tight in this game. So in order to spend, he can spend a good to jump my little wall of cards I built that keeps him from getting to a delivery city. But then he's going to not have enough goods at that delivery city.
There's plenty of defensive moves with timing and card placement. Absolutely.
It has a little bit of a feel of an abstract game like chess or something in that sense.
You're definitely making moves that are going to have effect more than just right then.
Right.
You know.
But what to me separates, so the beginner's game is just playing cards, delivering to goods.
Yeah.
That's it. You have a hold of 8 goods in your ship.
Yeah.
That's really it. And as you unlock things, you get points for pairs and stuff. But the advanced game is so much more interesting to me because of the draft that happens at the beginning. So there are sort of ship parts that you're drafting at the beginning. So it's one superpower that's unlocked, and then 2 endgame scoring that's unlocked. And we draft those in reverse player order at the beginning of the game. So everybody sees all of them face up, and then you take turns drafting. And so by the time the game starts, we each have very different ships with very different goals.
Exactly. It definitely makes gameplay a lot cooler.
Yeah. The other version is fun to teach. It'd be a good version to play with more casual players.
I'm glad we learned it on the first way first.
Yeah. No, there is one of my very favorite board game reviewers is a guy named Marco Wargamer, who's known more for heavy war games.
Is that his real name?
No, that's his BGG name, Marco Wargamer.
Okay.
But he was obsessed with this game, and it was actually his recommendation pushed me to buy it. I probably would have anyway because of how much I love Trois, and I'm so excited for Black Angel. But he says the beginner version is the only version they play, and they love the tactical back and forth of the elegance of it. I found it to be a little too light for me.
You like that heavy stuff a lot.
I do. But I really like a good asymmetrical start.
I would say that for the casual gamers out there, this one it's really nice.
I think you could play this game with people who don't play games.
You could.
The beginner version.
Yeah, the beginner version.
The beginner version you could, and it
might take 2 games.
Maybe, but it's also beautiful enough.
It's gorgeous.
Where people are going to,
there's a certain intuitive feel to it.
Absolutely. Yeah. And just all you have to tell somebody is play a card, draw a card.
Yeah.
The game ends when your deck's up. When you have no more cards to play, that's it. Everybody plays, so you get 16 actions in the whole game.
Yeah.
Everybody plays 16 cards. The game is over. It's super fast.
It's fun too.
Put a card down, take some goods, store it on your ship.
Yeah.
Go to a city, deliver those goods, take the tile, unlock a power.
It's very satisfying to see
going.
your mechanics, mechanisms, whatever little things come to light.
So I'm super excited to see what's going to happen with Black Angel, because if you look at the Black Angel's board, you will obviously see the Solenia. It is basically Solenia times 5. Yeah. So it's got the exact same tire tread pieces we're talking about that create a board, but there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So there's 7 of them, and then there's a whole board ahead of it, and then each player board looks like this giant thing.
It's just on crack.
Yeah, it
looks cool.
I'm quite excited for it. It's beautiful components. He's sort of there's the ship in the middle.
Yeah, it's a cool mini.
Yeah, it looks cool. So very much looking forward to Black Angel. He's one of the designers I will look at anything he does and probably buy it and potentially sight unseen, which I pretty much did with Solenia after only watching 1 or 2 reviews. But I really do recommend this as a beginner game. It is not. I can't say I love it. It's not something I'm excited to get to the table again. I enjoyed our plays of it with the right group. I think it shines at 2. I think 3 or 4 could feel a little. Well, I don't know. 3 or 4, you get a lot more cards on the table and it becomes a much more tactical thing. It's a different thing. But I think it's worth looking at. It's not an expensive game. I think it's $39.99. You might find it for cheaper even on Amazon. So it could be good down to $30 at some point. It's not an expensive game, and you're getting your money's worth in the components.
It's really nice.
The components are gorgeous. So that is Solenia. Take a look at it. A great casual game.
Absolutely.